Hey guys, so in this section I want to talk about JavaScript events and event handlers. And an event is basically just something that happens when an action has taken place in the browser. Here we have a list of events. We have abort, which isn't too popular. This occurs when the user cancels the loading of an image. Blur, which is usually used in form fields. It occurs when input focus is removed from a form element. So that's when, say, you click in a form and then you click out of it. That's a blur. And on the opposite of that, we have focus, which is when you click in an input. Click is a very popular one. Obviously, that's when something is clicked. Change is when the value of a form field is changed by the user. Error, I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have mouse over and mouse out are also very popular. So if you hover over something and if you hover out of it, and we also have load and unload. So we can do something when the page loads or when the browser window loads. So to deal with events, we can use event handlers, which are basically just HTML attributes. So these are just some examples. We have on click, on mouse over, on focus, pretty much on and then the name of the event. So let's get into it and I will show you how they work. I'm going to create a new folder. This is chapter 2 section 5. Alright, and I'm just going to put this document right in there. And I'm going to create my HTML document. Open that up and just paste in some HTML. Now the first event that we'll look at is load, is when the page loads. Alright, and we can add the onload event handler right to the body. So we can say when the body loads, so onload equals, and in here we can add a function. Alright, so in the last section we learned about functions, so let's run a function called say hi, and we actually want to return, so we'll return this function. Alright, so what we want to do is in the head tag create our script tags, and we'll create this function say hi, and we're gonna alert. Now alert, I haven't really gone over alert and prompts, but an alert is when you get that pop-up. It's just pretty much just a browser pop-up, and different browsers do it in different ways, so I'll show you that now. So we just want to alert, and we'll just say hi. So what we're saying is when the body loads, on load, we want this function to run. So if we save this and reload, we get the JavaScript alert which says hi. So that's events and event handling in its simplest form. Let's do something else. Let's get rid of this. And let's see, let's use a click function. So we'll create a button with the value of, let's say, click me. I'm sorry, it's not value, I'm thinking of a submit button. Why is this not typing? Sorry guys. I'm using a virtual machine, so I keep clicking in and out of it. Alright, so we have a button that says click me. Obviously it's not going to do anything right now, but what we can do is add an event handler. We could say on click we want to return, we'll use the same function, say hi. So if we reload that and click, we get our alert. So that's how event handlers work. Let's just do a few more. let's see. Let's create an H1, which is a heading. This is a heading. Alright, so we have this H1. This is a heading. Now let's add let's do a mouse over. So we'll say on mouse over. We'll have a function and we'll call that, let's see, return. We'll say change me. Alright, so when we hover over this H1, a function is going to run called change me. So I'm going to copy that, and up here I'm going to throw in this change me, and what we can do, we can actually grab, let's give this an ID. We'll just give it an ID of heading. Now we can grab that with document.getElement by ID. Okay, and the ID we want to get is heading. So we have that. Let's actually put that in a variable. We say variable heading. Now when this change me runs, we're going to say heading dot. Now remember, a variable or anything really is an object, so we can call methods and properties on the object. So I'm going to call inner HTML, and what this does is it sets the HTML of that object. So whatever is between these H1 tags, we can actually change it using this syntax. So we'll change this, we'll say no kidding. So if I save this and reload and then we hover over, then it changes to no kidding. Now even if this is H1 tag is a block level element, which means it reaches across the entire browser. So even if I hover over it over here, it's going to change. Now we don't have a mouse an on mouse out event, so it's just going to stay at no kidding. So let's actually give it a on mouse out, and we'll give that a function of change me back. And I'm just going to copy this, and I'm sure you know where this is heading. We're just going to add on back, and we're going to change this back to this is a heading. So let's save that, and now if we reload, if we go in and mouse over it, it changes to no kidding, and we go out and it changes back to this as a heading. So some really simple event handling, and let's see, what else do I want to do? Let's do a little bit with forms. So I'm going to get rid of all this, and let's just create a simple form, and we'll give this an input type of text. We'll say name equals name. And we'll put a line break, and then we want a submit. So input type equals submit, value equals submit. Alright, so if we save that, so now we have this one field form with a field called name. So let's add a couple event handlers to this input tag. I'm going to say on focus, we're going to return a function called focus in, and I'm going to copy this and paste, and we're going to say on blur, Remember, on focus is when you click into the element, and on blur is when you click out. So we're going to call this function blur out. Alright, so let's create these real quick. Alright, so all we're going to do is alert, and we'll say I am in the field, copy that, and we'll say I am out of the field. Okay, so I'm going to save that and reload, and if we click inside we get an alert saying I'm in the field, and if we click out we get an alert that says I am out of the field. So this gives you an idea of how we can use form validation with JavaScript. Obviously this has nothing to do with validation, you know, showing this alert, but we could say if this input field is blank, then show an alert saying please fill in the required fields or something like that. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in the project in this section. So we'll be getting more into event handling then.